There's nothing more amazing than spending time with the greatest of all time, all the time. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, because there is a lot to learn from those people, you know. So instead of looking at them as a threat, you can look at them as people that you can learn from, just the way that I do, you know. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I'm your host, Nico Chibase, and welcome to another amazing episode of Complacency Learning. Complacency Learning is a show that helps you help your child or helps your child navigate into the right career path so that they do not fall into the careers that they're not happy with in future. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's episode, we are honored by a public figure. You know, I'm talking about someone who's really invested in terms of the matters that have to do with education, school governance to be specific, right? So he's an educationist. He's more like he's a father, you know, to many, and also he's a father to his children. I'm telling you guys, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman, he's so much involved in giving back to the community. And I believe that from him you can learn a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, I kid you not, this is the episode that you really do not want to miss. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Dr. Tim Hlongwane. Some of you already know him, some of you don't know him. Those of you that know him, you know there's a lot to learn always. But if you don't know him, I encourage you to watch this episode. Watch and learn. See what the what does education can open for you, especially when you hold higher degrees, you know. So, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting any time, let's go ahead and welcome Dr. Tim Klongwane. Hello, Dr. Tim Hlongwane. It's an amazing day today, and welcome to another amazing episode of Complacency Learning. How are you doing today?
Can't complain, say, how are you?
No, I also can't complain. Eh? They say, who do we complain to? Because nobody's there to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, just before we start, and just for people to actually have an idea of who you are, can I just ask you to tell us a bit about yourself, what it is that drives you, and what it is that you do?
Yeah, all right. I'm Dr. Tim Hlongwane. Um, I'm from a small town called Malamlele in Limpopo. I was born and raised there, went to school there, and I studied teaching at Guyana College of Education. So the college that I attended was in association with Wits University. So when you finish that 4-year course, then you would go straight to Wits to do an honors degree, and I took advantage of that. I had a strong drive and hunger for education, so immediately I finished that college. I think I worked for a year or two, and then went to Wits to do that honors degree. So I'm an educationist, and my drive and passion is in education, and that is why my PhD was in parental involvement, particularly in former Model C schools, because when I was a principal in a former Model C school, I observed a trend where parents will bus their kids to these schools, but when it comes to paying school fees or attending parent meetings or collecting reports, then they were not very keen to do that. So that's my drive and passion to get the parents to understand their role. If we get the parents to understand their role in education, then we have half the problem solved.
It seems like you love what you do, hey? And
Yes, yes, yeah, very much so. Yeah.
yes, and you did say also that you love, advocating, like I mean, being what you call this, communicating with the parents, sort of, right? So is that what inspired you to go for the career that you're in as an educationist? Sorry.
Yes, yes, yeah, most definitely. That when you look around and particularly in black communities, growing up, things are slowly changing. You had issues where our parents did not have any inheritance, so we saw that. you cannot survive unless you fall back to education, and education is the biggest leveler because it doesn't matter where you come from. And now with NSFAS, it means that if you've got a drive and a passion, even if you do not have the means, the government will get you through those bursaries that are there, and the funding models that we have in the country. So yes, indeed, I was really inspired by the community, and I was like, if I'm in education, if I study education, then I'll have an impact to more people.
Mm. That
Yeah.
is true. Hey, no, I actually agree with that because at the end of the day, the community needs us, you know. And now you did mention something about the NSFAS that is something that can also help people, you know, study further. So, and I know a lot of people when they think of NSFAS loan, they think that maybe it's some sort of a loan that works like the bank where you have to qualify, you know, parents need to have this big pay slip or something. So if you don't mind me asking, can I ask you to just explain what NS Fast Loan is to those that really don't understand what it is and how it works?
All right. Yeah. So NSFAS, it's the funding scheme from the Department of Higher Education. In the past, it used to be a loan. Uh, but this loan in the past, it did not need that there must be parents who qualify or whatever the case might be. But then when you start working and getting a salary, it was at a point where you would be able to pay. But later, I think just before President Zuma's term ended, I think it was 2018, January,
Mm,
February, round about there.
mm,
Then introduced that it's going to be across the board. They introduced a threshold to say parents with a combined income of less than 600,000, then
mm,
their children would qualify
mm,
for NSFAS.
mm,
So it was converted into a grant,
mm,
where it is a study grant, it pays, and so anyone who can prove upon application that your parents have a combined income of that threshold, then you are able to qualify and apply for it. And I think it has since been increased. I can't remember to how much, but they can check. But the threshold is now higher. So there is no reason why anyone should not access higher education, because it is not only available at universities, it's also available at technical colleges, your TVET colleges. So even those who leave school in grade nine, they can go to TVET colleges and they can access these fundings until they get to N4, and they can also go higher.
Oh, nice, nice. Thank you so much for sharing that piece of information, Doctor. It really means a lot. I do believe that it's going to help with a lot of learners because I mean, a lot of them are discouraged in terms of studying further because of the lack of knowledge when it comes to this kind of things. But seeing that you like to work with people, and I believe that you're in governance, right?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
yes, the
yeah,
school
I
governance,
do, yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
seeing that you like to work with people, you know, they say, and I know, I'm sure you know of this law, especially in the retail, they say a customer is always right, right?
yeah.
But because they say a customer is always right, what happens is that now people tend to think that they have power over the customer. I mean, the
Mm.
customers have power over the people that
Oh,
are serving
yeah,
them, right?
yeah, yeah.
So in terms of that, what has been your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Remember, as a public figure, I can't say much about my work, right? Uh, in
That's
platforms like this, yeah,
true.
I can't be
Yeah.
talking about my
Mm,
work,
mm,
but
yeah.
I can talk about my community involvement in terms
Mm,
of my biggest challenge would be when you see kids going to school barefoot,
mm,
and you like, what is it that I can do to assist here?
mm,
The sanitary pads for girls, um, uh, you know, And this came to us. My wife and I, with our kids, were on holiday in Mozambique,
Oh,
and
nice.
and because we have different school holidays with
Mm,
them. The time when it was our school holidays, when we were there, it was not school holidays. So we decided to visit one primary school,
mm,
and what we saw there really broke our hearts, and because of that, we started a family foundation. We raised funds, and we got lots of shoes,
mm,
uniform, stationery, and
mm,
we made another trip as we had promised the
mm,
principal of that school that will be
mm,
returning, and they were very happy.
mm,
They were very happy, and we have since established a relationship with that school. But we also do give to South African schools as well to ensure that these kids have some dignity, as it were. So those are some of the challenges that we encounter, but we also have a solution to say those of us who are a bit privileged, yeah, then we are able to give back, and we do ask our friends and colleagues to contribute as we assist as far as we can.
Giving back to the community. I think it's a very great initiative, because I mean, if you really look into what's been happening lately, it seems like education is not that much accessible to people that are coming from the less privileged communities, because also if you look at, for example, COVID-19. So what happened? So it actually stopped for them, whereas for people that have access to technological devices, for them education didn't stop. So it kept
Mm.
on going. But to see people like you also pushing um for every learner to get equal access to education, I think it's very commendable. And I salute you for
Yeah.
that, Doctor. It
Mm.
also shows how deeply involved you in education. Hence you said you're an educationist,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
Mm.
not to jump too much into your career, so I understand as
Yes.
a
Yeah.
public figure, you can't be doing that, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
also just because people have heard of school governance, school governing body, and some probably don't want to be part of that because they don't really know what it is. Do you mind maybe
Mm.
just enlightening us on what school governance is?
All right. So what happens is there's two legs when it comes to school leadership. So you have what we call the school management.
Mm,
So school management would be the principal, the deputy principal, and the HODs.
mm,
So this group forms what is called the school management team, SMT, and they are responsible to run the school on a daily basis. However, it needs to be understood that to run a school, it needs a set of policies. So you need to know your uniform. What color should it be? Where should that uniform be sourced from? What time should the school start? What time should the school end? Should there be aftercare? What is the code of conduct with regard to these learners at the school? What admission criteria and policies that you're
mm,
going to be using? What languages are you going to be teaching at that school? How are you going to recruit the teachers? How are you going to interview them?
mm,
All these things that I've mentioned are done by the other leg of school leadership called the governing board. So the governing body, they do the policies for the school. But there is a government legislation called the South African Schools Act that gives guidelines on what the SGB should look at when they do about their business and
mm,
when they draft their policies, which so the South African Schools Act is the act that has established the governing bodies, and that they are it's their Bible, so to speak.
mm, mm,
And that is why sometimes our unit is referred to as the SASA police,
mm,
because we police that SASA is implemented correctly.
mm,
So that is basically that. And the composition of the governing body in high school, it has five components. In primary schools, it has four components.
mm, mm,
Component number one, and they are the majority, is the parents. So the number of parents will be determined by the number of learners in the school. The
mm,
bigger the school, the more parents they will have.
mm,
Component number one is parents. Component number two is teachers. On average, there's three teachers that will
mm,
represent the teachers. And then you have the non-teaching staff.
mm,
So this will be your general assistant and your administrative assistant.
mm, mm,
And
mm,
then number four is the principal. The principal is the
mm,
permanent member of the
mm,
SGB and is not elected. And
mm,
then the fifth component applies to schools with grade 8 and higher.
mm,
It's the learners.
mm,
And that is how you get the composition of the SGB. So the SGB makes decisions, the
mm,
SMT must implement the decisions of the SGB. They
mm,
run the school account, they open the school
mm,
account, they are the signatories, they do the
mm.
procurement, the EFT. So basically, the governance are the people that are responsible to running the affairs of the school at the bigger level, while the SMT do the day-to-day running.
Oh, nice, nice. So, in other words, so the main reason for the governance is to more like also involve the community as well, or maybe to also give them an idea of what is happening at the school, so to say.
Correct, because
Mm,
they also have the responsibility to engage the stakeholders. For
mm,
example, according to the new Bella Act, when the SGB determines the language policy, they have to include the community. It is called the demographics. They have to look at the demographics of the area and then take it from there. Yeah.
no, that makes sense, eh? Well, so now, in terms of the decisions that they make, um, what influences them? Is it like based on the past reports of how the school has been performing?
You're saying if they do
Mm.
what?
No, I'm
Just
saying
come up
that
with.
in terms of making the decisions, right? So obviously they have to make decisions that are both suitable for the learners and the teachers as well, right? So now, so as they make those decisions, are those decisions influenced by what's been happening previously on the school and also looking at where the school should be in future?
Oh, yes. That is
Mm,
why the
mm,
SGB decisions are consultative. So they don't
mm,
just meet for example, when they do a learner code of conduct,
mm,
yes, they will take what the school had done previously, but in every term, every 3 years when there's election, the term of the SGB is 3 years.
mm,
So what they do is they look at that and they have 3 months to do the review process. And that
mm,
review process means they have to mediate that code of conduct. In high school, it also has to be mediated to the learners. It must also be mediated to the parents, and it must
mm,
also be mediated to the teachers, so that at the end of the day, you have a product that is acceptable by all stakeholders.
mm.
And then it will be implemented for the next 3 years in line with the term of that SGB.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, so I think I don't want to go too much into your career. Like you said, you can't speak
Yes,
much.
yeah.
Right. So also I just wanted also to find out like to those that would like to maybe upgrade to your career or the learners that are thinking of, going for the same career journey that you went for. What advice can you give them in terms of maybe what they should know before they get into it and what they should maybe expect the kind of relationship that they would have with people in the school.
Yeah. So I can promise them that this is one career that you are sure that you'll get a job because kids are being born every day
Mm.
and those kids will need to go to school. And it's one career which I think it will not be overtaken by artificial intelligence or technology, because you still need human interaction. So parents that are serious about life would know that for their kids to be well-rounded and well-balanced, they will need to be at school. Because when you are at school, you learn a lot of interactive school. The thing with education, it's more than just the curriculum in the classroom. But that thing that when these kids get together in the schoolyard, before even they meet the teachers, that interaction with each other is very important. When they go to the playground, very important. Playing sports with other kids, very important. Going out to field trips, very important. So those are the things that when you take education as a career, then you know that parents are going to entrust you with their most precious possession, their children. It becomes a humbling experience to do. But the other thing, it has excellent career path within education. Like you see with myself, I'm no longer in the classroom. I no longer work at school. I work as an official, because this is one of the career paths that you can have. At school level, you have four career levels. So can be a teacher, it's called post level one, can be an HOD. Let's say you are an English teacher. If you are the HOD of English, then you are in charge of English, and the English teachers will report to you in terms of curriculum matters. Then there's a deputy principal, then there's a principal. And then after that, you can still move out into the district office and into the head office. Or you can even study further, like myself. You do your master's, you do your PhD. Then now I have a choice. If I want, I can move to university. I've been recruited. And it's only that when I look at what they want to give me and what I get now, so I have a choice now to say, you guys going up, up.
Yeah,
One day they might
levels.
up it, and I
Yeah.
might be back in the lecture room, and
Uh,
lecturing education policy
mm,
and management.
mm,
So there is a vast amount of work to be done. I agree, but
mm.
there is also a lot of opportunities to be explored.
Oh, nice. So I see that when the opportunities come, they're finding you all ready and set. So now it's just a matter of deciding whether I take it or I don't take it. I think it must be nice,
Precisely.
knowing that a lot of people are struggling to get the job and you are there, they're just calling you here and there. And I think you did mention something very nice, which is studying further. I
Yes.
myself, as much as I am a teacher, I'm also studying further now. I'm busy with my honors in education management. So I
Yeah, that's
believe there's
good.
there's a lot of people out there, and some of them, as they study, somewhere halfway, they get demotivated or they stop. And so I don't know, maybe they just face certain challenges or just feel like maybe they need to take a break. Right. So those that are going and would like to pursue their career up until PhD, like the red gown, because I mean the red gown looks
Yes.
beautiful.
Mm.
What can you
Yeah.
say to motivate them?
I would say the sky is the limit.
Mm,
So it's possible once you start get going. So when you finish
mm,
your honors, jump into your masters while you still have the drive and the passion and the energy. And then before you know it, you'll be busy with your PhD.
mm,
And it should not be about career prospects, or just do it for the
mm,
sake of doing it. But
mm,
I tell you, all the other things will follow you.
mm, mm,
Because having been a principal myself, I know when we do shortlisting, those with senior degrees, they get higher points. So
mm,
I noticed with me, let me tell you something briefly. I got
mm,
my master's when I was 20. 8 years old.
Oh,
I
what?
was
No
still a
ways.
PL1. Yeah, I got my
Yo,
master's a long time ago. I just delayed
yo.
to do a PhD.
Mm,
Yeah, I got my
oh,
master's many, many moons back.
oh, that's nice and
And
amazing.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
did it in England through the
Wow.
Nelson Mandela Scholarship. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh, yeah. So when I got back from England, it was 2004.
Mm,
And then I joined, I was working at a private school. So in
mm,
2005, when I returned, and then I decided to join the public sector.
mm,
So what happened is because I already had a master's degree, I
mm.
was shortlisted in every post
Yo.
to an extent that I went from post level one in 2006 to
Mm,
principalship within 4 years.
mm, mm.
Yes. So,
Nice.
so that is
Mm,
the power of education. I can tell
mm,
you, if you can get your honors and do your masters while you are PL1,
mm.
you can get any post you want.
Awesome. And I even saw the on your birthday, your wife, Dr. Hlongwane, she bragged about you. Because I
Yeah.
saw something that said what I think she said principal at the age of 36, ne?
Yeah, yeah. I was 34 when I became principal.
34, I
Yes.
mean, yeah, 34. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
was
it.
very,
Yeah.
very young. Mhm.
If you look at most of the principals, they become principals at like over 40 or something, you know.
Yes,
So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
speaking of that, I have to say that, so like coming from the bottom of my heart, your journey is very inspiring. You know, it's not
Mhm.
everyone that achieves what you've been achieving, and it's not everyone who achieves and still wants to give back to the community, and also be willing to come and share such an important information. So,
Mhm.
speaking of information that you're sharing with us, I know that I'm not the only one that's being motivated. I believe there's also a lot more that are gonna watch this video and also be motivated. So, in terms of maybe if they want to hear from you, is the only way that they can contact you through Facebook. Because I see you post a lot of, you do post things on South African Educators Post, of which is the one that you founded.
No, you can become
Mm.
my agent.
Okay,
Yeah, they
I would
can
love
come through you.
that.
Yeah, I
All
do a lot of
right.
speaking. I
Yeah,
do a lot of
yeah,
speaking.
yeah,
I
yeah,
motivate. Of course, I do invoice because my
yeah,
voice comes with an
yeah,
invoice.
yeah.
But
Mm,
if it's the
mm,
township no fee school, I don't
mm,
charge them. I do it for
yeah,
free, you
for
know.
free.
So
Mm,
it's we do give back to the community,
mm,
and they get our services for
mm,
free if they are
definitely.
in the areas that
Mm, mm.
it's needed. Yeah,
Yo, the world needs more people like you. What you're doing to this to the community, like you're not
yeah,
just looking at them and saying, you know what, it is what it is, but rather you are
mhm,
putting your hand in there, you are helping them as much as you can, of which is
yeah,
nice. Like I truly, you know, because I also have like a non-profit organization that I've registered, which is to help learners collect by collecting stuff like maybe old clothes, soaps, and
mm,
all those kind of
yeah,
things. So I was driven
mm,
also by the fact that I want to, you know, give back to the community and also feel that if God is enabling you to help, why are you not doing it, you know? But
yeah,
hearing you speak about this, it really also took me from this level and just pushed me a level higher. And for that, I truly
yes.
appreciate. So,
No, you're welcome.
awesome. So with the last question, this is the question that I love the most, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you
Let
did
me
speak.
pay 100% attention.
Okay. No, it's not even very long. It's a very short question that is straight to the point, right? Because it seems like in this world that we live in, not a lot of people understand what learning is, you know. Like people just think that learning is more like going to class, maybe you listen to the teacher, or maybe you just learn to ride a bicycle or something like that, of which I believe that learning happens in many different forms, right? Look at also, I don't know if you know, what do you call this again? This movie, Lion King. Do you know Lion King?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
Mufasa.
Mufasa, yes. There was a point where that I forgot what his name is, where he took the baby lion there to the river, something like a river or a dam or so, where he could even see himself. At some point, he hit him with a stick and he went like,
mm,
ouch, right? But when he came back for the second time, he tried to move away. And then for him, it did say to him that it was the lesson that it was teaching him that, okay, he felt the pain. And that's why now he's trying to block it so that he doesn't feel the pain again, you know?
okay.
So, speaking of learning from your side, what does it mean to learn, and what does it mean to be a continuous learner?
All right. So let me take you back to a philosopher, a Brazilian philosopher called Paul Freire.
Mm,
So Paul Freire had this thing that children are not tabula rasas. So
mm,
a tabula rasa is an empty vessel.
mm,
And in his philosophy book, there is a picture of a child. And then there is a picture of, the dispenser of fuel in a filling station
mm,
going
mm,
into the bed, and that dispenser resembled the educator.
mm, mm,
And
mm,
and 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 he was saying in his philosophy
mm,
that
mm,
the kids are not like that. They are
mm,
not coming to school to be fed with information by an educator like you will dispense fuel in a garage.
mm,
Doesn't work like that.
mm,
Learning experience happens from the day the child is conceived. That is why when the child is born, it's able to move the hands. Because
mm,
while the child was in the womb was practicing how to do that.
mm,
And once they are born, they start interacting with the environment. And in that process, they are able to learn a lot of things.
mm,
What school does is to structure the learning that they have already acquired over the years
mm,
and channel it to a particular direction. And that is how learning happens. Like I noticed with my daughter Charlie,
mm, mm,
even
mm.
before she could read and write, but she will tell that is a Toyota, that is a
Mm,
Benz, that is
nice.
because she
Mm,
associated the badges of the
mm.
car to a brand.
Oh
And
yeah.
by looking at the badge, she will tell
Mm,
what it is. And that is
mm,
something that she was never taught by anybody. She would
mm,
ask when we are driving, what car is that? We would tell her once.
mm,
The next time she sees a different car, even if it's a different model, but
mm.
because it has that star badge, it will say, Papa, there's another Benz. There's
Yeah.
another Benz. Now there's a BMW, you see.
Mm, mm,
So
mm,
in my view, 80% of the learning happens unconsciously. When you're not even aware that you're learning and you actually learning a lot. Look at our great grandparents, for example, who never went to school. The
mm,
other day when I was presenting Bella, somebody was saying to me, these kids that are not documented, they will get sick because they are not vaccinated. And I
mm,
said to them, who vaccinated our great grandparents? Why are we here today?
mm.
Precisely
Yeah.
because they knew how to do it then.
Mm, mm,
And they knew when to plow. They knew
mm,
what kind of crops to plow. They
mm,
knew how to deal with their stock farming and all
mm,
those kind of things.
mm,
So there was learning even
mm,
in those years back when there was not even formal schooling.
mm,
So today it's even worse because and also with AI, AI
mm,
is
mm,
it's not bad if it is used correctly,
mm,
because it can also enhance learning
mm,
outside of the classroom environment, where learners are able to use it correctly for research purposes
mm,
and also learn how to write good English
mm,
without copying from there.
mm,
It can be an excellent tool that can be used. So
mm,
that is my view of learning, taken
mm,
from a philosopher called Paul Freire.
mm, mm. Mm,
Yeah.
nice. And I have to say that from what you said, I learned a word. I even lost it again. Like the word you said that the children are not an empty vessel.
Oh, tabula
Uh,
rasa.
yeah, tabula rasa. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's the word at least that I learned,
Yeah,
And
they're not, yeah. Go and
yeah,
Google it, tabula rasa.
no,
The way I'm saying
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No,
yeah. Go
100%. No,
and Google.
yeah, no, I'll do that. Like I have to say, Doctor, that this conversation was really, 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 really amazing. And really I learned a lot, You should have seen me when you said yes, we can have it. And I'm like, serious? Like
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I was like, spending time with greatest of all time, people like
yeah,
all the
yeah,
time. It's really nice because you get to learn a lot about, what you call this things that you don't know about, because I mean, at the end of the day, as for me, I know that some people, when they look at people like you who are very smart and also very up there, they would maybe see a threat or maybe they would start to build some sort of an envy or so, whereas when I look at you and I look at people like you, so I see people that I can learn from, because at the end of the day, I'm not a full cup, I'm a half cup, and I can still be poured into, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, because if I don't understand that, then it means that I can hence the name complacency, because complacency is
yeah,
just one of those where you feel you've learned everything that you don't need to. And it's the word that is hardly used. So this is
yeah,
something that we try to bring into the attention of the people. But in
yeah,
all honesty, sir, I truly appreciate you. Thank you.
yeah.
And also thank you for the men's conference. And I'm telling you, with the celebration, I
Yes,
am coming. I am coming.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
No
But
stress.
yeah,
No,
all right,
thanks very much. I appreciate
all
the
right,
opportunity. I don't take
all
it for
right.
granted.
We're good. No, thank you so much, sir. And we'll communicate further as I feel there's a lot to learn from you.
No, you're
All right,
welcome. Bye bye.
all right. Bye-bye, sir. Dr. Tim Hlongwane has achieved a lot within the short space of time. By the time he was 34, he had already become the principal. And as I'm saying now, he's working at the higher offices. Ladies and gentlemen, it was truly an honor to have him, more like a blessing. And until next time, stay tuned.